Alex here with a video on conspiracies. I try not to do these uncategorized videos, but sometimes I'll have an epiphany and I'll think about it and I'll think about it. And after a couple of weeks of thinking about it, I'll go ahead and do a video on the topic because I think it might be useful to my viewers, despite the fact that it really isn't specific to any like legal principle or a part of my docket series. So, one thing that I noticed having some talks with people about, or discussions with people about the court system, not even just the family court system, but just generally the court system. One thing I've noticed is a lot of people respond to what I tell them by thinking there's a conspiracy. And, at first, I just kind of really didn't think much about it. I just went and said, not really. It's just kind of happening because that's sort of just what naturally is sort of encouraged based on the rules and based on the policy behind all of the various different, I guess you could say, the legal machinery itself. And then I realized it seems like society in general has kind of moved the bar when it comes to what's a conspiracy and what is just something that just people don't know, but nobody's really trying to keep it a secret. People just don't know. So anyway, my understanding of a conspiracy, and when you look at the definition, is something that people are taking very deliberate steps to keep secret, to keep unknown. And it's more than one person, obviously, otherwise it's not a conspiracy. It's just a single guy keeping a secret. But with the idea of a conspiracy requiring that sort of additional effort, that above and beyond, to make sure that whatever it is that those two or more people are doing or know stays secret so that nobody knows it. Um, what do you sort of do with situations where nobody's really trying to keep a secret at all? It's just something that, I guess you could say the general public has no clue of. That's not a conspiracy, guys. Nobody's trying to hide that. And so, occasionally people would kind of go, wow, I didn't think of it that way. But some people would say, well, if it's really like that, the media would say something. So that's, I think, where people have kind of raised the bar to these days, is now there's sort of an expectation that anything that would elicit an emotional response or a shock from the public would have to be told to them by the media. Basically, the expectation of a lot of people now is that they are sort of entitled to being spoon fed this information. And it really doesn't work that way. I mean, the media, for the most part, covers things that bring in revenue. They're companies, they're for profit companies. I guess there might be some non for profits out there, but those still need money because they have to sort of pay their staff, and they're still operating costs with nonprofits. Just because they're not operating, in a way that seeks to profit the company doesn't mean they're working for free. They still need money. So they're, going to cover things that are going to sort of bring income in. And sometimes I think what that does is it sort of discourages them from covering things that will rock the boat, things that upset gigantic corporations, things that upset the government. I know a lot of people don't like to separate that sort of thought process or approach from conspiracy, but really it's not so much an obsession or an effort to keep something secret so much as it could just cause issues with their revenue to cover things like that. And ultimately, what we get to is, sort of back where I started in this video, which is what do you sort of do with a population that expects to be told things that are shocking or upsetting but really isn't told them because maybe the previous things that I mentioned with regards to profits. But then you also have situations of there's only so much that the news can cover at a time. I mean, there's a lot of things that are going on in the world all the time that are very important, and they can only pick a teeny tiny percentage of those things to tell you about. So you've got a lot of these situations, and I really hope this video is less confusing to people than it is helpful. You've got a lot of situations out there where there are really bad things going on, and you could go beyond the legal system even, and it's just not a secret at all. It's just that people don't know. There could be hundreds or thousands of people in an industry that know there's a problem, but nobody else really knows in the public. So nothing really, I don't want to say nothing gets fixed, because sometimes you'll have leaders in an industry that will fix something on their own. But that's kind of what the point of this video is. It's talking about issues or problems in the world where they're not fixed. And I guess we could go back to the court system, the legal system, family court, attorneys, judges, etc. And full circle, talking about those particular issues, which is why you're all here to watch this channel. I don't really think that there's as much of a conspiracy as people think. I just don't. I really think that the things that are occurring in the system are occurring because policy, the rules, the way the relationships work, and the way the business model operates, these things sort of kind of encourage or maneuver people in a particular direction. And it's sometimes I say it's similar to gravity. I mean, just because everyone's affected by gravity, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's how everyone wants it to be. That's just one of the rules of physics or whatever. And there are, I think, a lot of people in the legal system that don't necessarily agree with the rules, but those are the way that the rules are. And whether it's an actual statute or whether it's just sort of one of those unwritten rules that if you don't follow them, your law practice implodes or you get voted off the bench, it doesn't really matter. There's just sort of a flow to things, and only a teeny tiny percentage of people in that industry are going to say, you know what, I'm going to do the right thing no matter what, even though I'm going to hurt for it. And I'm not so sure that that's something we should complain about, because a lot of those people who do step out of line and do the right thing in one or two cases might find themselves ousted and replaced next cycle, and the problems will continue. So there's a couple of things that I was hoping to sort of reach in conclusion here. Is number one, you would be amazed how little you can accomplish by targeting a specific judge for removal or targeting a specific candidate to get him into office. It's just so transient. It's just one person, and who knows who's going to replace them, and who knows what's going to happen, when they're gone. You could do a lot more good by actually trying to affect the rules themselves, whether they're actual statutes or whether it's the unwritten rules. If you could actually change the way the system or the rules sort of encourage conduct or action, if you could change that, you could have not only lasting change, but you could change not just one or two, but an entire system. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention is just the sad reality that some of these things just are really boring to people. They don't relate to it. And when it comes to law specifically and the judiciary and stuff like that, it's really boring to most of the public. And it's not that, any of these attorneys and judges are trying to, keep a secret, like they're running a secret society or a cabal or something like that. It's just nobody cares. And so that's, I guess, what we're trying to fix here with this channel, specific to, litigants going through the system. And then, of course, with our Nevada judges, it's a different way to sort of interconnect with the public. In any event, I hope that this video is useful to my viewers. I hope it's not depressing, and I hope it just sort of helps people kind of realign or readjust. Because I know that a lot of times the first instinct, I know for sure when, it comes to the messages that I get in my inbox, the first instinct that somebody, has is switch the judge out. Take this guy, fire him, give me another one. Everything will be fine. No, not really. It's bigger than just one candidate. It's bigger than just one judge. It's bigger than just one election. It's bigger than just 1 year. It's bigger than just one website or one organization or one leader. It's bigger than all of those things. And I guess when it comes to solving problems like this, you have to approach it from the perspective of how do you change the rules. And that's just something that people don't really connect with. I think it's easier for us as people to connect to other people, which is oftentimes why we think we need to get rid of this judge or we need to get this person elected. In reality, it's hard to fix a system, and a system is not something you can relate to. And I talk about this problem in different ways actually in this channel when it comes to like some of my videos like The Machine and Fairness versus the Law, or in Relating to the Judge, where I try to get people to get off the track of how do we relate to these legal operatives, and how do we, from that to how do we actually interact with this machine, which is, it's much more akin to a machine than it is the particular people that you happen to be interacting with and butting heads with. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up now. Again, I know I said this earlier. I hope it's not depressing. I hope it just kind of helps people adjust. But just because hardly anyone in society knows something doesn't mean that the people who are benefiting from it are trying to keep it a secret. I just don't believe it at all. I just think that the attorneys and the judges are just doing their jobs. No one's trying to keep any secrets. They're just doing it. They're just doing their jobs. It's a paycheck, and nobody knows. That's all it is. No conspiracy. Just nobody knows. So hopefully we can continue to grow as a channel. We can continue to reach out to people and invite them to the channel, both channels. And hopefully this video is very useful to people. And with that being said, I will go ahead and sign off now, and I will see you guys next time.